Hello and welcome to Hippo CMMS. My name is Earl Mina and I work with the training and tech support team with Hippo. Today's webinar is titled Hippo Mobile. Access your work orders on the go. Here's a look at today's agenda. We will start with a quick introduction, then begin our tutorial. Topics that we will discuss today include how to submit work orders on mobile, view work orders, edit work orders, assign work orders, and close out those work orders. At the end of the webinar, there will be a short survey that will follow where you can answer a few questions and also ask any of your own. You're also welcome to use the question bubble on your screen to ask a question. These questions will be answered after the webinar. Now, before we begin, I just want to mention that all attendees will be muted. This webinar, however, is recorded and we will send it to all attendees and those who have registered. So let's begin. Hippo CMMS is available on both desktop and mobile. The mobile platform is perfect for your on-the-go maintenance technician. Hippo CMMS on your mobile uses real-time cloud-based syncing to submit, sort, update, and close all on-demand and preventative maintenance work orders. Your maintenance technicians require an app that's fit with their fast-paced and on-the-go work style. Just like on desktop, the application is easy to use. One of the most important benefits of having a mobile CMMS is avoiding the need to shuffle through paper. Hippo Mobile allows you to go completely paperless. Also, it saves a lot of time. No longer do you need to run back to your desk to modify a work order. Techs and also admins of your CMMS can get all their work order management processes directly from their phones or tablets using Hippo's software. So let's begin our tutorial. So to access your Hippo on your mobile, open up any browser of your choice. If you're using an iPhone, you can use Safari. If you're using an Android device, you can use Google Chrome. Within your address bar, type in the same URL that you used to access your desktop Hippo. For example, your URL would be your clientid.hippocmms.com or clientid.hippocmms.ca. To log in, you'll use the same user ID and password that you do on desktop. And once you've entered that information, hit Secure Login to enter the mobile page. So the first screen that you're seeing is what we call the Enterprise Summary. Just like on desktop, you'll see the name of your enterprise. My enterprise is called Hippo Town, and any of the facilities that are within that enterprise. Now, within my enterprise called Hippo Town, there are multiple facilities. However, I'm only assigned to one facility. Now, if you were assigned to more than one facility, you would see those facilities listed below on this page. This page also tells me a summary of the work orders within my facilities, how many work orders are PMs, how many are demand work orders, how many work orders are critical. The clock icon is for any work orders that are overdue. And the last icon is for work order requests if you're using that feature within your Hippo. Now I do have work orders in my manufacturing facility, but as you can see, I have zeros across the board. If you notice here, where it says show own, this view is currently only showing me work orders that either I've created or that I've been assigned to, which I do not have any. In a moment, we will create some work orders. We'll also go into the facility and assign a PM to ourselves. You can change your view by hitting the Own tab. If you have permission to show all, this will change your page view and you'll be able to see all the work orders within your facility. Now we will be assigning ourselves to a PM. In order to do that, we do have to go into our facility, but before we get there, we're going to start with learning how to submit a work order. In the top left corner, you have your button for the main menu. Here are the different features in Hippo Mobile. You can submit a work order, you can look at your work order requests, search for work orders, look at a day calendar view, manage your equipment, and do barcode scanning. For the purpose of this webinar, we'll focus on submitting work orders, so let's go ahead and click the Submit Work Order button. Now, for those of you who are familiar with submitting work orders on desktop, hopefully this page doesn't look too different. This page was designed to give you the same feel and look as you do on the desktop. This page has the mandatory fields for a work order name, your type, and your description. Now, starting from the top, our work order name is usually what needs to be done. For example, we'll say fix the light. Next, we pick our facility, manufacturing, and then we choose between equipment, location, or vehicle. Now, just like on desktop, if I select equipment, my drop-down list below will show me all the equipment in my manufacturing facility. If I pick location, I will get a list of locations within my facility. This is location-based, so let's hit the drop-down menu. I can scroll through the list of locations, or if I find my result, I can click and select my items. You're able to select more than one association for a work order. You can also utilize the search field. If your list is quite long, you can type in what you're looking for to add it to the work order. The last mandatory field is description. This is where you type in a more detailed description of the issue. So those are the only mandatory fields. Before we submit this work order, I will highlight some other fields that would be quite useful for you to use. For example, due dates. If you need to define when this work order is due, you can click in the calendar and select the date that this work order is due. As well, you can turn priority labels on, such as critical. If I mark this as critical, this tells me the work order is due at a much earlier time. We can hit the Show More button. And there are some other options for our work order. In addition to critical, the other priority levels are low, medium, high, or urgent. This is reflected by the days that you've set within your global settings. For example, a medium level work order for me is about 4 or 5 days. Work category is useful. To quickly find your work orders, you can label them with a specific work category, and when you run a search or maybe a monthly report, you can see all the work that was done within the lighting category. There are fields for your vendors. For example, if you have a company that you hire to do some work within your facility, you can select them as the company. As well, you can pick an individual contact, and if you'd like, you can even send an email to that contact. That email would be a copy of this work order. Requested buying contact information. These fields are not mandatory. Since you're logging in, this will capture your first name and last name. And if you've added your email in your users list, this will also capture your email on the contact information field. And the last section on the work order form is for resources. So if you are a resource, you're likely going to add your name to this work order. If you have permission to add anyone else, you may also see their name in the list as well too. So let's go ahead and pick my name, and I've assigned myself as the resource maintenance technician to replace this light bulb. Let's review that all the details on our work order look correct. Fix the light. I've picked 4 locations. I've typed in the description, looked at the due date, added a work category, and I've also added myself as the resource. So this looks good to me. I'll go ahead and hit the save button to submit the work order. Great, so my work order has been submitted. And as you can see, I'm on the Show Own view, and instead of having zeros across the board, this perspective is now showing me the work orders either I've created or I've been assigned to. Now to see those work orders, I can either click on the facility or I can click on the button on the right that says Work Orders. Let's click here. And this is going to show me all of the work orders that I've been assigned to. Now, if you don't see the name of your facility, this is still an enterprise view. For example, if I had multiple facilities. This could be a work order from manufacturing. Next work order could be from the plant. Next one could be from estates. You'd see all of the facilities. To get just the facility perspective, you can always go back to your enterprise summary and click on the name of your facility. And this will take you into the facility. Notice that there's a title here now. This is showing me only work orders that I've been assigned to within this facility. So let's open this up. At this point, we're going to edit the work order. We can hit the drop-down arrow or anywhere in this area. We can see the work order ID number, the description and the name, when is it due, and by hitting that arrow, it shows me all of the associations that this work order is assigned to. To edit the work order, let's hit the green edit icon. And just like on desktop, when you open a work order, you've got some additional fields. For example, status. If I'm going to indicate that I'm working on the work order, I'll hit in progress. We'll scroll down a little bit further. Same information as when we submitted the work order. Now there's a comments field. In the comments field, I can say that I've done 3 out of 4 rooms. I can hit the show more button again. We'll scroll a little bit further down. Same information. But we've got a couple more options here. In addition to resources, we have a parts dropdown. If I'm utilizing a part for this work order, for example, this light bulb, I can hit the edit button. So in this window here, you can see the category of the part, the part name, which is light bulb, part number, how many I have on hand, where it's located if I added that information. And then in terms of consuming parts on the work order, just type in how many you've consumed, hit OK, and that'll add that to your list of parts. Now, this filter here was recommended for one of the other locations within the work order. Anytime I run a work order on one of those rooms, the filter comes up. However, I don't have to say that I've used a filter. This keeps my inventory at 87. Down below, we have associated work orders. In associated work orders, if I wanted to assign maybe another work order to this, maybe I'm changing a light and I notice that there's another issue within the room, I can create another demand work order and these two will be forever linked. Now, in terms of invoice information, if I'm adding an invoice from a vendor, just like on desktop, I can type in my information. What is the invoice number? Who is the company? Any tax information, and then I hit create. We'll hit the edit button and then start adding items to that invoice. Items would be things like category for materials, how much did they charge you, $75, and labor if necessary. We'll say 150. That's just an example. Obviously, when you're fixing a light, definitely something you do in-house. But if you do utilize invoices from vendors, that is how you add that to the work order. Now, some of you might be wondering, can I add an attachment to a work order? The answer is yes. And based on my demo here, it doesn't look like my user has that permission. So I'll jump back into desktop. I'll assign that permission to this user. And when we go back into either submitting the work order or assigning ourselves to a PM, I'll show you how you can attach a document to a work order. For now, let's hit the save button. And now I'm back to my enterprise screen. I can hit work orders again. And this is the same work order, but notice that the color of the work order is different. It's now blue, meaning the work order is in progress. It's not been completed yet. Before we get there, I do want to turn on my permission to add documents, and then we can open up the work order again. So I've jumped back on desktop. For those of you that are familiar with assigning permissions, this might look familiar, but I do want to highlight a couple things. If you do want any of your users to access mobile, If you're enterprise admin, you can turn on the permission called mobile enabled. Now within facility admin, you pick the facility that you're assigned to, and these are the permissions the user has. So I turned on for my user the ability to look at the equipment list on mobile. They can manage resources, so add themselves to a work order, edit their time, and within their demo there, you notice that I couldn't add a document because I didn't turn the right permission on. So I've enabled specs and docs. When we go back into mobile, I'll show you how to add a document to the work order. Under Facility General, in terms of seeing View All and View Own, that would be these permissions under the work orders, View All or View Own, and of course, turning on Submit Demand Work Order. So let's jump back into mobile now with these permissions saved. Okay, so we're back into mobile now. Let's go into that work order that we created. At this point, I'll show you how to attach a document. Hit the edit button again. Let's say that we've completed this work order. We'll change this to complete. We'll close the work order out at this point. And in terms of adding a document, look for the attachment section on the work order. Right above resources. So here we can hit the add button. The option to upload will launch your camera. Now this window appeared because I don't have a camera on my demo here, but let's assume that I did launch a camera and we took a picture of the unit. We've snapped a photo of whatever it might be. It asks us to maybe name or just use the default name here, but I'll go ahead and say this is a picture of the light. Now you can also add an existing document. If you hit existing, this will show you all of the documents that are under your either enterprise admin or facility admin documents panel. But I want to add the picture that I just took with my camera. I'll hit OK. All right, so in terms of completing the work order, again, we've changed the status to complete. So at this point, we're done switching the light bulbs. It's time to close it out. Many of you know that if you're a resource and you're assigned to work order, you do have to enter a value of time beside your name. So hit the resource tab. If you see the red X icon, that means you can remove a resource from a work order. And the green button is the edit button. So let's click on the button. There's our name. We'll type in our time. Hippo records this in decimal format. So I spent about 15 minutes doing the work that was indicated on the work order. This is 0.25. If you're logging any overtime hours, the menu here has options for overtime. We'll hit OK. And I've got all of my mandatory and applicable information. Let's hit save. As you can see, the screen went from 1 to 0. I've closed the work orders that either I've been assigned to or that I've created. Now, I mentioned earlier, we'll also take a look at all the work orders from the mobile perspective. So let's switch this to show all. Let's click on our facility name to go in the facility. Great, so these are all the work orders within my facilities. As you can see, it's a list of all the PMs. I don't have any jobs on my list, so I do want to go ahead and assign myself to one of these PMs. To do so, if I have permission to view all, and I have permission to modify all, I can click on the work order, hit the edit button. This work order has not yet started, but I do want to indicate that I am the resource. Scroll down back to where it says resources, hit the add button, and select your name. Let's hit OK. I'm assigning myself for the purpose of doing it later. Maybe I'll go for lunch or something. Let's hit the save button. And now I'm back to my enterprise summary. So notice now I have one work order. It's not a demand, it's a PM. Let's hit work orders on the right. There's my work order. I've gone for my lunch break maybe, and I've come back to do my work. Let's hit edit. This is an example of how you can open and edit and close a PM on your mobile device. So here's the statuses again. This is in progress. Let's fast forward to say that we completed the work order. How does this differ from completing a PM on mobile than a demand work order on mobile? Well, you've got the same fields. As you know, with the PM, some of the fields cannot be edited, so description cannot be changed, the name cannot be changed. These are more delicate procedures, things that your admins have taken time to set up, so you don't want anyone in there changing the description or the name. We've got a comments field, so if I can say maybe completed all work with no additional issues. I'll hit show more. Now, this is how PMs will differ. You may also see things like estimated effort in minutes. Someone had estimated how many hours or minutes that this job will take. If I keep scrolling down, the key thing is tasks. So with tasks, this is like a checklist for your work orders. This ensures that you're following the same procedure for every single PM that you complete. For example, step 1 is dampers, step 2 is check filters, we've got step 3, 4, and 5. In terms of completing all the tasks, if you've actually done all of them, you can quickly hit the complete all button. That'll mark everything as blue, indicating that you did do every task. Now, if you didn't do all of them, you can select the ones that you did. But if you did not complete one of the tasks, it is mandatory that you do add a comment indicating why you did not complete that task. So in here, I can say did not do final task for motor. Maybe I ran out of time. We'll do on another day. Other than that, as we know, if you're assigned to a work order, again, put in your time, resources, we'll hit edit. Maybe this job took me 2 hours. We just learned about attachments, so maybe you do want to take a picture of that work order or that equipment, whatever it might be. And then ultimately, once you have everything in there, hit the save button. If you have permission to close work orders, this is completing it on your phone. It will disappear from your dashboard and you've cleared off all the work that needs to be done. So that was a tutorial on how you can access your work orders on the go with Hippo Mobile. Now, before we wrap up today, you may be asking, how do I get started? Well, here's some important things to know. Hippo Mobile is available for Hip Pro and Hip Pro Plus customers. If you are unsure of your current Hippo license or you want to upgrade to mobile or unlimited mobile users, please contact our support team. The email will be shared towards the end of this webinar. Next, think about how you want to prepare and train your team for Hippo Mobile. Will you be training your team yourself? Or would you like to have a custom and personalized training from a Hippo trainer? At any time, customers can purchase two types of training packages, web-based or on-site training. For example, a Hippo trainer can come down to your facility, teach one or teach one-to-many how to use Hippo Mobile based on the needs of your operations. It's important to note that we can train your team on more than just work order management. Hippo Mobile also includes other great features such as work order requests, equipment and parts management, and barcode scanning. These are all trainable topics. Lastly, all Hippo licenses come with lifetime technical support. Hippo support team is available to answer all your mobile and any other of your Hippo CMMS needs. This is the contact for our support team. We'd love to hear from you. For more information, please contact us at support@hippocmms.com. Well, this brings us to the end of the webinar presentation for today. Just a reminder, there will be a set of questions that will follow the webinar, but feel free to leave some feedback, send in questions of your own, and our support team will respond after the webinar. This webinar has been recorded, and all attendees and registrants will be sent a copy. Thank you very much, have a wonderful day, and I hope you continue to enjoy using your Hippo CMMS.